Welcome back to Dash Explore. I'm Sarah, and today I'm going to be showing you how to edit your family home videos in a software that is completely free to you called DaVinci Resolve. Now, if you're just finding me through this video, this is actually the 5th video in a whole series of videos that I have made about documenting your family trips, what shots I get, how I got those shots, and in my last video, I shared how to edit your family home videos right on your iPhone. So some of you may be iPhone users and are here today to learn a little bit more of an advanced way of editing your videos, and some of you also might be non-iPhone users looking for a way to edit those home movies. So I hope to share with you how to use this software and how to create lasting memories of your family through the videos that you take while on your trips or just in your everyday life. Now, I do want to preface this video by saying that this software is incredibly powerful. Like, I probably even only use like 10 to 15% of the tools that are available within this software. So that is just something I want you to be aware of going into it. It might feel a little overwhelming, but I'm going to try to show you the most basic tools that you need to import all your videos, splice them all together, and export a final video that you will have of you and your family and all your memories for years and years to come. So with that, we are going to jump into how to edit your family home videos in DaVinci Resolve. So the first thing that you are going to want to do is download the software DaVinci Resolve. There is a paid version of this software, but the free version is more than you could ever use. I am still using the free version as well. So go ahead and pause this video, download that software now onto your computer, and then we will get started with how to start a new project and import your videos. All right, I'm going to start by opening the editing software and getting us set up with a brand new project. So while this is loading, I also want to remind you that if you haven't seen my video from a couple of weeks ago, I made a video bringing you guys along with me as I recorded home movies of my family doing a picnic in the park. This was to show you what types of videos I capture and why I capture them. And now I'm going to take all of those clips, put them into DaVinci Resolve, and edit together a final home movie using this editing software. So if you haven't checked that video out, I will link it up here above or down in the description below. So every time DaVinci Resolve opens, it's going to open up with this smaller screen. You can go back and open an old project if you want, but today we are going to be starting a new project. So we are going to double click on this thing that says Untitled Project, or you can also click here down at the bottom where it says New Project. And that is going to open you up to your main editing page. So there's a couple things that you should know before you get started. There are all these tabs down here on the bottom, and pretty much the only ones you're going to need to be worrying about are this one that says Edit, that looks like it has the 3 bars that's showing the different layers of a timeline. If you are importing videos from an iPhone, you might need to worry about this color tab, and I will walk you through how to do that in just a minute. And then finally, this rocket ship tab, and that is going to be where you take all of your video once you're finally done and export it out so that you can get that final video file to share on YouTube or in messages or however you want and remember those memories forever. So it will automatically take you into this tab called Cut. I don't ever use that. So we're going to just click right over to the Edit tab. And now let me show you just the main parts of the screen. There are 3 big things that you want to focus on. First, there is the media pool, where you will put all the clips you will pull into your timeline. Next, there is the actual timeline. So you can see there's this gray bar down the middle, and that divides the video clips from the audio clips. So you'll see how they separate in just a minute, but this is where you're going to be working on editing your video, is down here in this timeline. And then finally, there is this, it looks like a movie player, and that is where you can preview your video and see things as you go along. So you can adjust things, get this clicker, and you can make your preview bar bigger. You can make the media pool smaller, however you want to work it and figure it out, but customize your screen to make it look like you want. And then now you are ready to jump in and edit your video. So the first thing we're going to do is import your clips. So there are 2 ways to import your clips. You can either have a separate folder open where you have all of your clips saved and you can drag them into the media pool, or you can go up to the File button and click Import Media, or click Command-I or Control-I, depending on whether you are using a Mac or a PC. But we are going to go and we are going to import our file. So I've already saved all of the clips that I'm going to be using for this movie in a folder, and I have them all saved together. So I'm going to click and drag all of them. You can also click on the first one, hit the Shift button and scroll all the way down, but you are going to select all of the clips that you want and click Open. And that is going to pop all of your clips into this media pool. So the first thing that you might notice once you see them in there is that these clips, I'm going to drag one in here so you can see it, they look kind of washed out, like they don't have full color. So I just need you to accept that for right now. We will be editing the color a little later on, but the latest versions of iPhone and even the Pixel phone, it kind of mutes the color, and this allows you to add your own color grades to it. It is kind of annoying as someone who doesn't do a lot of color grading on my videos that I have to go through and do this every time. But if all of your clips are from the same camera, then you should be able to just select everything together and edit everything all at once. So we will get to that in a minute, but just know that it is going to look a little funky while you're starting to edit them now. So I'm going to delete this out of here. To delete a clip out of the timeline, you just click on it and then hit the delete button, and that takes it right off of your timeline. As you can see now that I've dragged a clip down into my timeline, it says video 1 and then A1 or audio 1. You probably will not need to get into all of that detail now, but just know that that's how your clips are going to be split up. So I am going to pick a video to start my movie off. There are a lot of ways you can start your home movies off. I personally like to do some kind of establishing shot or something that shows where we are and what we're doing. So I took a couple of these while we were at the park. And I think actually I'm gonna start this video with the lake shot. So I'm gonna drag my lake video down to my timeline. And this red bar, wherever the red bar is where it'll start playing if you wanna play. So I'm gonna drag it all the way back to the beginning. And one more setting I'm gonna show you before I get into editing more is there is this plus and minus button up here under your player. And this is where you can zoom in on your timeline. So the more you zoom in, the more space each clip will take up. Each clip obviously is only as long as you recorded for, but if you need to see it closer up, or especially if you get into editing like with audio and stuff, you might want to zoom in a little bit more, but you can play around with that and decide what you feel the most comfortable with. So we have this clip of the lake.
Standing still.
And as you can hear, I'm talking.
You can see all the water, you want to hold it
in this clip, and I do not want that to be happening. So there are a couple ways that you can mute the audio on a clip. You can either select it and go over to this section over here where it says audio, and then take the button and drag it all the way down to 0. And if you look over at your clip, you will now see that you can't see the audio waves from the talking. So that has muted it completely. Another way that you can edit the sound is if you hover your mouse over top of where the waveforms are in the audio section, you will see these 2 arrows pop up. And if you click on that, and it'll say volume as you click on it, and drag it all the way down, and then it says, we'll say -100, and that means that all the audio has been muted. So you can drag that all the way down and that will mute your clip as well. Something that I really like about DaVinci Resolve or editing on a laptop is that you can mute a bunch of clips at once. So for instance, I'm gonna drag all of these clips down here together, and I will select all of them, and I can go over to this volume tab and drag everything down to -100, and all of those clips are muted at once. So if you are making more of like a slideshow style video like I'm going to show you today, you might want to mute most of your clips, but there also might be some clips where people are talking and you might want to keep that audio. So play around with it, make the kind of video that you want to make, but that's how you mute your clips if you want them. So I don't need these clips right now. I'm going to delete those out. And now we're going to go back to this clip of the lake. And I probably only want it to be about 4 seconds. So there are a couple ways to trim your clip. First of all, like you just saw, I have the arrow selected and I've clicked on my clip. And once you hover towards the end of it, the arrow will change into something that looks almost like a parentheses. And if you go all the way to the end and click, you can drag it in. And then you'll see there are 2 numbers. So the top number is how many frames you are taking off. So I am editing in a 24 frames per second timeline, which you might be if you change that setting and you watch my video and you saw that that's the frame rate that I like to record and edit in. So every second will have 24 frames. But the biggest thing that I like to pay attention to is the bottom number where it says 5:14, and that is how many seconds it is. And I'm going to put this down, since it's a title slide, to around 4 right there. So now this clip is 4 seconds long. Since this is going to be the intro of my video, I'm also going to put a text box on it to introduce where we are, what we're doing. So there are a ton of pre-animated titles you can choose from. Personally, my favorite that I always use is I like to use this horizontal line reveal, because we take a lot of videos, and with this I can put the title of what we're doing, where we're going on the top, and then on the bottom I can put the date. So I'm going to use this one again just because I like to be kind of consistent. Here you can change the font. And on this top one, I'm going to change it to say picnic in the park. You can also change the size where it says upper text size. You can also edit the color of it. Then you go down to the lower text controls, and that's where I'm going to put the date. And we did this picnic in August of 2025. Again, I'm going to change this font to be the same as the top one. But as you can see, they kind of space the letters apart on this one, and I don't like that. So I'm going to go where it says lower text spacing, and I'm going to click and drag the circle over a little bit just to bring those letters back together. I am also going to switch this to be all caps just because I want to. So now looking at our timeline, before I preview it, you can see that this title slide hangs over top of my clip. So I'm going to, again, click on the edge where there is the parenthesis and drag it in so it's the same length of time as my clip. And so now you can also see here, now it says video 2. when you drag a second clip on top of another clip, you're going to create layers in your timeline. You can play around with this just to help you understand what that looks like. But right now I have 2 video sections on my timeline, and that is showing that title slide is on top of my video clip. So one thing I will change before we move on from here is that when I look at it, especially if we preview it in full screen, the text kind of gets lost in the water. So one thing I might play around with is click on my title slide and click on settings. You'll see a zoom button. They will be linked together, so don't worry about clicking one over the other. I always just click on where it says X. And I wonder if I zoom it and make it a little bit smaller, if it will hide in the dark. It does, but I still don't think I like that. So I'm gonna undo that or hit Control Z, or you can also go to Edit and click Undo. And I think instead I am just going to move it either up or down so that it is all in one place. I'm gonna start by trying to move it down. And if you remember back to math in high school and you learned about graphs, the x-axis is moving side to side and the y-axis is moving up and down. See, math, still applicable in adult life. So where you see position Y, that is gonna move your text up and down. Where you see position X, that will move it side to side. So I'm gonna start by trying to move it up to see if I prefer it in the sky. Whoops. I accidentally just zoomed in on my preview section, and this is something that I tend to do a lot, especially depending on what kind of mouse situation you have. So a quick way to fix this without trying to like mess with the zoom control, first of all, if you look up here, it says 268%. So you can click on here and click fit, or you can also just go over to your keyboard and click Z, and that will take it back out. So that is a good tip to know if you are using this software. All right, so now that I've moved it up to the top of this clip, I realize that I think it will just be better if I change all of the colors to black, but I think having it in black will stand out a little bit more. So I'm gonna click on the white bar or where it says color, click on that, and that will bring that tab up. And then you need to make sure you do it for the bottom text. You can also, there's a lot of different color options. Like I said, the software is super powerful. You can change the color sliders. You can insert a hex color. So if there is a certain specific color, like maybe like a university color you want to use, you can type that in there, or you can do the crayons. But I find most of the time, just whatever it comes up with is all that I need. And then the last thing I will do is change that line back to black. And so now when I preview it, picnic in the park, it's exactly the way I want it. So now let's get into editing these clips down. So up at the top, you'll see where it says effects. That's where we picked our title from. I'm gonna make sure I click back on media pool. And now I can see all of my clips. So I have set the scene. We're at this lake in this park. And now I am going to bring in this clip of Delaney walking with Haley in the parking lot with our food, because we are going on a picnic. And again, mute that clip. And then I will bring in the next clip of the park where we were having our picnic. And I don't want all of the stuff with the girls running in just yet. So I paused it. To play and pause your preview, you can hit the space bar. So space bar will play it, and then space bar again will pause it. But I am gonna go back to the beginning, and I want to stop it right before the girls come in. So I have paused it right with Haley walking into the screen. Now I'm gonna take it back a couple of frames and cut it so that I don't have anything with the kids in it. So I'm gonna use the arrow button and just take it back until I don't see Haley anymore. And now I'm gonna show you the other way that you can cut down your clips. Before I was showing you how you click on the clip and use the slider to slide it back and forth, but there is another tool. If you click on what looks right here, this blade edit mode, it looks like a razor blade. If you click on that or you hit the letter B, it will change so that when you hover your mouse over a clip, it looks like there is a razor blade. And if you hold that over top of where that red line is, it will cut the clip in half so that now the second half of the clip has the girls running around, and then the first half of the clip just has this stage area. So now I'm going to click and drag this part with the girls playing a little bit further down, and just let this play out. Yeah, I think that's how we will start it for now. I do think this clip of Delaney is a little bit long. Something that I try to do when I'm editing clips is to keep them under 4 seconds. And yes, this is only 3 seconds, but I think for what I'm trying to show here, we just need it to be around 2 or 2.5 seconds. And then I will bring this one also down to about 2.5, which for this case will be 2:12 because we have 24 frames in a second. So walk into the parking lot, picnic, and then now let's set the scene. I have this narration style video that I took, And another thing to show you is that I just set my clip down in my timeline and there is this huge gap between my last video and the video that I want to come up next. Something else you can do, you can slide it over, but you can also just click on that space in between and it will highlight it and it'll be in that like lighter gray box, and just hit your delete button and that will shift everything down closer to your last clip. So now,
all right, it is Tuesday afternoon.
and so we are gonna have this voice clip in here. It does have a little bit of a long pause before I get started, so I'm gonna cut that in just by clicking and dragging.
All right, it is Tuesday afternoon,
and that is my clip that is gonna set the scene. So now again, I've dragged that extra part in because there was a little bit of a dead space, and I'm gonna select that space in between and delete. I also can see on the waveform that there's a little bit of space at the end, so let's listen in here and see if we can trim a little bit of that extra out at the end.
at the park.
So I'm gonna cut just a little bit of this out. So I'm gonna move this clip again down of the girls running around because I don't want that yet. I'm gonna pull in this picnic blanket video. And this clip is really long. Right now, if I click on it, I can see it's 14 seconds. And 14 seconds of Haley laying on a picnic blanket is not very interesting. So what I'm going to do is cut it down to just include pieces of the action, but we'll still show the whole action without just sitting there watching Haley do that for 15 seconds. So she's got the blanket, she's letting it out. I'm gonna pause it in here, probably right around here, and click the razor button. I am also going to cut just a little bit of the beginning part out because it's kind of a long clip. And then she's kind of trying to shake the blanket out. And then there we go. Now she is laying the blanket out. I'm going to stop it here where she is laying it down. And then I'm going to keep going, watch a little bit more. And then now I'm going to watch her straighten the blanket out. So now when we put all of these clips together, she's got her blanket, and now she's gonna lay it down and then she'll straighten it out. And I will just cut the rest of this end part out. So now, instead of having a 14-second clip, I ended up with about 6 seconds. So sometimes if you take those longer clips, you can cut them down into little parts of the action and you'll still get the whole picture without having to watch it go all the way through. And so while we're setting up the picnic, let's also watch them play a little bit. So now I will bring back this clip with them running around. And since it takes a minute for Delaney to get in the frame, I'm going to cut the first part of this out. And they will run around. We'll let that go for just about 2.5 seconds, well, maybe closer to 2. And then we will show Delaney standing up on the stage. One other tip that I'm gonna go ahead and throw in here is that I have already edited all of these clips together in iMovie for last week's video. So I am super familiar with what's in the clips, what I have, what I like, and I just know them really well. And if this is your first time editing a video, you might want to just sit and watch all the clips all the way through, drag all of them into the timeline, watch it from start to finish so that you know what you have and what you want and what parts of the clips are exciting to you. And that will make the editing process easier. Like I said, I've already watched all these clips. I've actually already edited them all together once, so I know what I have and what I want. So that's making the editing process a little bit easier for me. So preview your videos, see what you've got, and then edit from there. Something else that you can do, might be getting a little bit more complicated, is that sometimes I like to have one layer of the timeline be for audio, and then everything else that's just extra and visual, I pull up a row, and you can click this mute button, and that will just automatically mute every clip you put on this second video row. So that's something else you can do instead of individually muting each clip or highlighting them all and muting them at the end, is to just mute a whole row of video. But if that's too stressful for you, keep them all in one line, mute each clip, easy peasy. So Delaney is up there, but I know that at the end, she does that cute little dance with her arms and smiles. And then we'll bring that over. So we have our stage, Delaney's on this stage being silly, and then I have my next clip that I have is of Haley dancing on the stage, and she does a whole dance routine. I don't need the whole thing because she dances for a while, and although it's beautiful, we don't need it all, so we'll get it down to maybe 4 seconds. And then now it's time to jump into our picnic. So I took a bunch of detail shots. So this one is a really long clip, as you can see, but it shows my food, the girls' food, and so now I'm gonna cut that up into a bunch of little clips so I can show all of the details of this picnic because you want to really set the scene. You can also, if you have the cut tool on, you can drag it over a clip and it will preview it right on the screen. Got this shot of the girls' almond butter and jelly. So we'll have it be just a couple of seconds, and then we are going to delete out all of the extra pieces. And now I've got 2 shots of food right here, 1 and 2. I don't like how this one is still moving at the beginning, so I'm going to trim just a little bit extra out of there. It might be a little short, but that's okay. And then I do remember that I also have this clip of our chips, so I'm going to go ahead and put that in here too. Sandwich, chips. And again, keeping, especially detail shots, they really only need to be right around 2 seconds. So we will leave that at 2 seconds. And now we have some reaction shots. So here's the girls trying their food. So I'm going to cut out the parts where they take a bite. And then I know Haley talks about how the flavor of her almond butter and jelly, so I'm going to keep that part in there as well. I'm going to do them super quick, and then I will resume back and show you this whole section edited down. All right, so now I have edited that long clip down, and I've got Haley taking a bite, thumbs up, Delaney taking a bite, good,
Sweet flavor of it.
and Haley's reaction to it. So we will keep all of that there together. And then now also we have Andrew taking a bite of his food. And then now we have some action shots to edit down. So this is Andrew brought the girls a drink. So we have, actually I will import all of these in there together. We'll select all 3 of these, put them in all right next to each other. And we have got him opening the drink. And then again, I have this blade tool so I can hover over to see if I want anything else. We'll start. We do have him pouring this drink here, but I also have this one where it's a little bit closer up. So I think I will just use the one where it is closer up, and I won't use the rest of this clip. So we have him opening the drink and then pouring the drink. If for some reason your clips aren't snapping together, there is this magnet button. It's called snapping, and that is, you can either push the N button to turn it back on. You want it to be white, not gray, white. That will help your clips snap together nicely and keep you from erasing part of the clip that you don't want to erase. Pouring the drink. Oop, but I deleted it a little too much. So now I'm going to show you the one last editing tool that's really cool and easy is if you hit the T button, or this trim edit mode right here next to the arrow, and you can hover over, and it's got 2 parentheses with 2 arrows. And if you click on that and drag, it will help you kind of slide through your clip, and you can keep the amount of time that you've already edited down, but slide to the actual section that you want. Okay, I'm gonna go a little bit further because I don't want to see his hand drop down. He's pouring, 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 perfect. And then now I don't need any more of him pouring, but I do have 2 videos of the girls taking sips. So I'm gonna mute those and we'll put those in next. All right, next we have this selfie clip, which again, don't need any of the volume because I've tried to get everybody to smile. And I'll wait till I have almost everybody in frame, cut the beginning part out. And oh, look, we're having a picnic. We're all having so much fun. So that selfies videos are still a great way to get videos of everybody in your group together. We use them all the time. And then the last video I have from our picnic is this video that I actually took from a live photo on my phone, which is a great tool to have if you are taking a family trip or doing some kind of adventure where you want to make a video like this. If you take photos, you can also click on the video and save a live video. That way I now have this cute video of the girls sitting at the picnic. But you'll see it has these black bars on the side, whereas the video before doesn't have that. So I'm actually going to zoom this clip in, and to zoom the clip in, I'm gonna go back to video, and I'm gonna click on zoom, and I'm just gonna click and drag it to the right until there's no more black space on the side. And so now there they are, having a good time. The one thing you will notice is that this video, for some reason, does not need to be color corrected. this one is the color that you want. So I'm just gonna put it on a separate line so that I know I don't need to add the color correction to that later. And that's just kind of a reminder for me. All right, so now we have a transition shot. And if you watch my video where I took all of these videos, mute this, I was able to get a couple of transition shots all in one. I was able to walk on the grass, then walk on the sidewalk, and then walk on some asphalt. So now I'm going to trim this down. So I've got 3 clips that I can sprinkle throughout the video. And then now I'm going to cut out all of the middle pieces. So I don't want this last clip, delete. I don't want the one that's showing the transition between the brick and the asphalt, so I'll delete that. And then same thing here, this is the grass to sidewalk transition, so I'll delete that out. And now I've got a grass clip, a sidewalk clip, and an asphalt clip. Something I did in the last video I edited with these clips is I put this grass clip closer to the beginning, showing us walking to our picnic. So I'm going to cut that clip out now. And to cut a clip, just like on any other word processing software, if you hit Control or Command X, that will cut that clip out. And then I'm going to click and select all of these clips and move them down a little bit, put my red player right here, and then hit Control V to paste this clip in to show that we're going from here, walking over, and then now we're at our picnic. So that's my transition shot here. That transition clip is a little long, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit. And then go into the next one. All right. So we will use that one there. And again, like I said, our picnic is over. So I'm going to use this sidewalk clip to show that we're now going to take a walk around the pond. So we're walking on the sidewalk. Again, this one is also a little bit long. We'll cut it down to at least 2 seconds or a little bit under. Walking around the pond. And I'm going to save this other sidewalk clip for a little further down in there. So next we start walking around the lake with the girls. We're going to mute these, and I don't like that light flare off of the side, so I will wait till that's kind of out of the way and just get this last clip of the girls walking around the lake together. So I will bring that in next to this one. So leaving our picnic, going on a walk, and now I'm going to put this clip of the pond up there. But again, mute that. And this is really long. I panned for a really long time, so I will probably stop it right about here. And I will split that in half. I might want to use the end of it in a little bit, so I'll just scoot it out of the way for now. Let's see. This is about 4 seconds. I am going to trim a little bit off because it is kind of a long clip. And I might actually trim some off the beginning because I hold it a little still in the beginning. So I'm going to wait till I'm moving a little bit, and then we're at the pond. And then we are going to walk a little bit more and get to, so I'll use that walking clip that I have. And then we have this pretty covered bridge that we're going to show. And then the fun part of this walk is that we saw some duckies. So I'll put all of our duck clips in there. Oop, I don't want to accidentally cover up this panning shot. So I'm just going to put all of these on the second row for now. You want to make sure when you're moving things from row to row that you're not accidentally cutting a clip in half. You want to make sure that it's going down right next to where you've already trimmed it. And we've got the bridge, got some ducks. Again, just a couple of seconds is all you really need. I will delete or click that gray space in between and delete this in. I do have a couple of duck clips and I don't know if I need them all, and I'm going to use this one since it's a little bit closer, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete this out. Another thing that you can do is click Shift Delete and it will delete that and move everything down all at once, so that's also a helpful tool. Cut that down to about 2.5 seconds, and then the girls were watching the ducks and they were so sweet. A couple seconds of their reactions. And then I'm going to bring this panning shot back in to show that we're kind of moving our walk along. I am going to wait and pick up a little farther in the pan to show that we've moved a little farther down the lake, even though this video is all taken in one spot. Move that down there. So now we have our first panning shot. We're going for a walk. We found this bridge, ducks, more ducks, girls watching, more lake. And now we're going to move on to the next fun part of our walk, was seeing this turtle. And unfortunately, there's that nasty cookie wrapper in there, which I hate for the turtle's sake and all the other things, but it is really cool to see that turtle swimming around. Also, something that I mentioned when I took this video is that I was using the zoom on my camera, as you can see. And if you look at it, especially nice and big, like the quality is really actually terrible. So I really try to avoid using the zoom on my camera. Sometimes you just like wouldn't be able to see this turtle if you hadn't zoomed in on it. So you have to use it sometimes, but I try to avoid it when I can. So especially when you see this, like how clear this clip looks compared to how grainy this turtle looks, it's usually better to try to zoom it in the editing software than it is on your phone. But anyways, I did zoom it in, so I'm just going to use the zoom clip. Swim. And then before I zoom out at all, because that's kind of jarring on the eye, I'm going to cut it here. I don't think I need any more of that, so I'll delete the rest of that out. And then I took this clip of all the greenery because it was so pretty there. And I kind of am able to split this clip into two because I focused in on the greens here. So I'm going to cut that first part out. And then I pan up a little bit to the lake. So I'm going to leave that last part in there just for a different view to show we've moved around the lake a little bit more. And then the last clip I have is of this pretty flower. I should have sprinkled these in a little bit more throughout the video, but this is up by the stage and you can tell that, so I don't really want to move it any further up in the clip as of right now. This is where it helps to preview clips ahead of time. So again, I'm going to cut this down to 2 seconds. And then also you can see I have this one other clip here that I haven't used yet, and it's of Delaney and I walking. And I actually think I like this better at the beginning because we already show us walking from the parking lot to the picnic space. So I'm going to show, there's Delaney with the bag. I'm going to put this clip in here now. And if I go to like put it in there, it's going to cover up what I've already got. So something else that you can do is to right click or 2-finger click on if you have a Mac and click insert selected clips into timeline. And that will just move everything back down, and that way you're not deleting anything from your clip. So mute it, get a couple seconds of that transition shot, and now we've got this movement here into the beginning of our clip. All right, so now I have used all of the clips that I've taken, but here I don't really like to end on random stuff or just random detail shots. I prefer to end on group pictures. And since I only have this one selfie shot of us, I'm going to bring this back in and use it one more time, even though I've already used it. It's okay to use shots more than once. And I am going to go to this. And then if you see when you click on or when you hover over the clip, there are these sliders. And if you click on the one at the end and drag it over, it will bring kind of like a shadow over top of the end. And that just shows that it's going to fade it out to black. And that's something I like to do at the end of my videos, just to like signify to my audience that this is over with. So I'm going to put that in there at the end. And done. Hello, it's me from the future editing this video. And there were a lot of things to cover in this DaVinci Resolve software in this video, and I ended up talking for a very long time and sharing lots of helpful tips about how to use this software. And because it is so long, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video here. And in next week's video, I will show you how to color grade your videos so that they all look crisp and clear in the way they are supposed to look, as well as how to add in transitions and finalize and export your video so that you can share it with your friends and family. So thank you so much for watching today. Thank you for sticking with me through these editing videos. I know they are not my typical travel content, but I wanted to share with you how we make our travel videos because they mean so much to me, better than any souvenir we could ever get. So thank you so much for watching today. If you learned something in this video or you think you're going to start taking your own home videos, please make sure you give this video a like and make sure you hit subscribe and ring the notification bell so you can get notified when we post the next part of this video, which hopefully will be sooner rather than later. So thank you so much again for watching today, and I will catch you in part 2 next time.